This podcast is a proud member of Pod Nation Media Network.
Yeah, we want them to listen to it just maybe while they're doing their homework or something like that.
Maybe not while they're doing their homework, but yeah, just having a bit of screen free time, but trying to keep a child's attention for more than about 5 or 10 minutes is quite hard work.
Yeah.
So that's why we thought the games and the jokes and stuff, they're just ways of keeping the kids' attention, isn't it?
That's why we want them to get involved, because otherwise they might just be like, oh.
You get bored quite quickly. Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Pods Like Us. I'm Martin, well known to my friends as Marv, and obviously it's recorded in November because I've got a moustache. And this time I am speaking with Arya and Claire about the fantastic podcast, Something Different. Hey, thanks for speaking with me today.
Good morning. Yeah. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for speaking with me today. It's been a fun listen to your show because one thing is the fact that it's presented by Arya and she's asking the questions of guests. You seem to be able to get answers out of people and get them to open up more, I think, than if an adult would be asking another adult a question. They might be a bit more cagey and hide things, whereas you just seem to be able to get the answers from them.
Sometimes when we start recording, they're like, I don't know to say, we can always come back to questions, and it's just funny some of the answers they come out with.
And I think they feel more relaxed because you're a child, and kids ask funny questions, and they never know what you're going to come up with, but I think you make them feel kind of relaxed and comfortable, don't you?
When adults are in another room with an adult, it's but then I feel like they feel more relaxed around children.
Yeah.
I think when we were children, we were a lot more. We didn't care so much about if people would question what we were asking. I think we were just more lively and able to just go there and ask people questions, whereas now we'd think, is that really a good question? And we think about things too much as we get older, whereas there's an excitement and a will for life almost.
Yeah, and you really enjoy thinking about the questions, don't we?
Yeah.
And just things that are going to be fun, adults get asked serious questions all the time. And some of the stuff we're talking about is serious, but it's just asking it in a way that makes it fun for kids, that they can understand the seriousness of some of the questions, and just giving an adult a chance to have fun with some questions about what they do.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, it's quite serious all the time, isn't it? So, having a child's point of view is fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when you spoke to David, the stuntman, that was great because when I was listening to that episode, it wasn't until towards the end when you broached the subject of his disability and being disabled by the accident, it wasn't until then that I knew that was happening. It was like a sudden, right, okay, I didn't see that coming. But it was because of the fact that you were so light in the discussion leading up to that led to he's an incredible person with his outlook. Despite that, he's still very out there and very happy in his life, and
that's why we wanted
that's
to
why
speak
we
to
love
Dave,
it.
wasn't it?
Yeah, that's why we love it.
He is the most amazing person, and he's so caring, and he has such a different outlook on life after his accident. And, it's hard for kids sometimes to look at the bigger picture. They've got these small little lives that they're kind of navigating and learning. Sometimes just a little bit of guidance from someone who's been through a lot is really helpful. And especially someone, who has a disability. There's some amazing people in this world, and we're all very different in ourselves. And having someone like Dave, who not only does something a bit different, but is, maybe considered a bit different in the fact that he is disabled, was so lovely for us, wasn't it? Because he kind of ticked lots of boxes, and he has some amazing things to tell our listeners as well, which is really nice.
Yeah, and it's really nice to know when you arrive at wherever you're going to record it that they already feel like comfortable with you, and it's like, so we don't like, you get to know each other, but it's like you already know each other.
Yeah, because you've not met Dave before, had you? We'd spoken to him previously before the interview, but he made you feel really comfortable, didn't he? And it was just like chatting to your friend then, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was lovely.
Except a friend who gave you a lot of nice stories about being on the set of Harry Potter.
Yeah, you really enjoyed that one, didn't you?
Yeah, because I love Harry Potter myself.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that chat. Also, another one I liked. Well, I liked the other one as well that's come out so far, where you spoke with the actual skater, Kristen Spowers.
Yeah, Kristen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she was going to do the Olympics for England.
And she is another wonderful person, isn't she, Kristen?
Yeah.
And we have luckily had the opportunity, being in the figure skating world, to do some workshops with Kristen, haven't you? You've been able to learn from her personally. So for Arya, that was a really lovely episode to do because she got the opportunity to interview someone who she idolises. But they had some real good fun in that episode as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
As well as the important messages that it kind of gave.
Yeah.
But you didn't have any nerves while you were speaking to her? You didn't have any nerves while you were talking to her, though?
No, it was like I said, like, you are already comfortable, but you gain even more comfort when you're around them, and it's like just a nice, friendly chat.
Some people just have a good aura as well, don't they? And you can just be in their presence and they make you feel really comfortable. And, you know, we've been really lucky that our guests have made you feel like that, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of meeting somebody who would be an idol to me, you know, like a Paul McCartney or something, and how would I be around them or something. So for this to be somebody who you look up to, but then again, the fact that you've already spoken with her and done these sessions with Kristen, that must have made it easier anyway, so you haven't got that nerves. I bet you were really nervous the first time that you ever met her.
When you're around someone you idolise, you kind of want to look like you'll sit back and chill, but inside you're just like, oh my God.
Yeah, you just try and stay cool, calm and collected, don't you?
Yeah.
She's quite good at that.
Like, just like, yeah, but on the inside you're like, oh!
Very good at.
Yeah.
Yeah, the swan analogy where you look nice, calm and peaceful on top of the water, and then the legs are going for it underwater.
Yeah.
Yes, that is a great analogy, that is.
Yeah. Good for skaters as well, that. You know, you look nice, calm and collected at the top, and then your legs are doing all the work at the bottom, I suppose. So what was your introduction to podcast? How were you introduced to podcast?
Well, we listen to a lot of podcasts, don't we? And Arya herself does, she's a great actress and she has done a lot of kind of practice in presenting things and stuff. And we kind of came up with the idea that maybe this would be something that she would want to have a go at and try.
Yeah.
We've got a couple of friends who work in radio, and you went to Kidsania once, didn't you? And you sat in the DJ booth.
Really, really fun. And I was like on a radio, like.
It's Capital Radio. It's like a little mini pretend version. You really enjoyed that, didn't you?
Yeah, it was like really fun, and I feel like that just influenced my whole ideas of like radio world and podcasting.
Yeah, giving it a little go. So Mummy said, okay, I'll help you out with this. We'll see what we can come up with. And then we had some inspiration from our friend. And the whole theme of the podcast, Something Different, is actually around, it was inspired by our friend's daughter. So unfortunately, she passed away when she was just 2. And the very first intro of the podcast mentions this a little bit. And our wonderful friend Selena had Down syndrome. And we considered her to be our little bit of something different as well. And we learned a lot about how the world treats people, you know, who are considered a little bit different sometimes. And sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not so good. But it was a lot of learning for us, wasn't it, when she was small and kind of navigating the different things. And then when she passed away, we was having some discussions, wasn't we, about, you know, what could we do to keep her memory alive? And then we'd already been talking about the podcast, and it just seemed to be a good fit, didn't it? Yeah. And it just kind of all come together off the back of that. And we thought, wow, this is great. You know, we can keep her memory alive, and we would love to have a Down syndrome person on the podcast at some point. When we started it, Ellie Goldstein, you know, the girl who's been on Strictly Come Dancing, she was our inspiration for like doing a podcast as well. We was like, we'd love to get her on, but
Yeah, that
obviously
would be
she's
so cool.
a lot more famous now, isn't she?
Yeah.
So, but we just want to celebrate the fact, just because you've got Down syndrome doesn't mean that you can't have a wonderful life.
Yeah.
And we want people to know that
It makes you even more special that you're.
and that these people in life are amazing, and it's so much better in the world now.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, it was a lot harder if you had something a little bit more different about you.
Yeah, because
Today,
people
you
learn
celebrate.
to accept that,
Yeah,
and you need to. Otherwise, it's like,
yeah, and it was tough at the beginning, wasn't it? But it has been really lovely just to keep her memory alive, and we think about her a lot when we do the podcast. And hopefully we'll be able to get that Down syndrome person on at one point to have a chat with us about something wonderful that they've achieved in their life.
I'd give Ellie a shout if I was you. I'm sure she'd be up for it.
Yeah, well, I did try to reach out to her on Instagram, but we have to do everything via an agent these days. So we will keep trying, because you never know. One day she might just want to come and join us.
You might know somebody in the radio who knows links and connections, perhaps.
Yeah, it's always worth exploring.
So then you've listened to these radio shows, and these have inspired you in these podcasts. So the initial idea for the podcast, I mean, it's simple in a way. What is your show? You're talking to people at the moment so far that do jobs or work in areas that are slightly different. So you've got this person who was a stuntman, you've got this person who's an ice skater. So is that something different? And then they've also got these things in their lives that have happened that have changed as well in both of them. So have I got the idea for the show right there, or is there more to it than that?
Yeah, the idea is around that something different theme.
So to inspire people, not just to be like, you could be a teacher, you could be anything you want. You don't have to be dedicated on one thing that you want to happen in your life. You could explore the world if you wanted.
And to dream big, isn't it?
Yeah.
Some people go to school and they think the only option is becoming a policewoman or becoming a teacher.
We want people to think, wow, that's cool. I want to do that when I'm older. And go ahead, follow your dreams.
We'd really love an astronaut, wouldn't we? That would be great.
That would be really cool.
Because maybe a child might think, I'd really love to be an astronaut, but that's never going to happen to me.
Yeah.
But actually, by interviewing these people and finding out how they got to these places in the first place,
it could be easy.
Yeah, it could be possible for them.
I mean, David's got this history with sports that led to him that he needed to become a stuntman. So you can become a stuntman, and the possibility is there. You can become a figure skater for the Olympics because the possibility is there, and because people go skating and then they get discovered while they're skating by people and go, "Would you like to blah blah blah?" And these things happen. It's lucky that it happens, but the possibility is there, and to give people that hope is a great thing, which is what your show already does.
And sometimes it is just being discovered. Like with Dave, he was really lucky that he had that person walk into his gymnastics centre that was looking for kids to be a stuntman. With Kristen, she's worked really hard throughout her whole career to get herself up to that level. She's given up a lot of things in her life to commit to doing that skating, and hard work has actually got her there. So we just want kids to know that anything's possible if they try and if they just look outside the box a bit.
Yeah, when life knocks you down, it means you're a step closer. It's a hint that you're getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't ever look at things as negatives completely, because if something happens that's not nice, it's something that you learn from and you push through and think, right, how can I avoid that happening again? Always look for a positive.
Yeah.
But you learn from everything.
Yeah, you do. You always get a positive out of a negative, don't you?
Like, oh no, I made a mistake here. But I won't make that again because I know what will happen now.
So you've contacted these guests, you know what you're going to talk about. Then what research do you do leading up to the recording? And then how do you record and edit the show after that? So research first.
So that's my job, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Arya gets to the fun bits. So she's the face of the podcast. She does all the fun bits and the interviewing, and she's very good at that. And my job is the background stuff. So we
editing.
We kind of sit down, don't we? Talk about the guests that we'd like. Like we've got a list of, the top people and the jobs that we'd like to go for. So then Mummy goes away. The very first thing I thought of when we was looking at a podcast was a beef eater. So I really wanted to interview a beef eater.
Okay.
So I went away, kind of looked on Instagram, looked on some socials, trying to find out some information about people who did this job.
If you do that as well, you find other people. It's like, oh, we could get those too.
Yeah, and we have
And
other
then
inspirations.
It's like on and on, like more and more people.
Yeah, and
you
things
reach out
pop up.
to, and they come back, and you're like, fine, we'll do this episode with you. And it's like,
we get lots of
this
ideas.
bit, and then you can have a break to think about, like.
Yeah, so we have a little look into, we have a list obviously of the people that we really like to look at, and then I go away, do a little bit of research, see if I can find people with these jobs, and then I reach out to them to see if they're willing to kind of come and chat with us about it. And then I will put together a kind of script for the podcast. So we have a format. So every podcast, we always have a kind of introduction to the guest. Then we have a section where we ask lots of questions about what they do and how they've kind of achieved what their role is, or their hobby, or their dreams.
Like, we'll just like write down the questions.
Yeah, and we put loads of questions together, don't we?
It's all natural.
And some Arya will think of, some I'll think of, and then I'll say, right, we need a bit more of a kid's perspective on this. So we'll go through the questions.
Yeah.
And we have loads of questions, don't we? We have way more than we probably get in the podcast.
Yeah.
Because some work out really well, and some just put people on the spot a bit,
It's
and
like,
they have no idea. And then we wanted to make it a bit more interactive and fun for people.
Yeah, so
we have listener questions, don't we?
People can reach to us and say, I want to ask this person this, and I want to say like what you do, blah blah blah, and it's like, yeah, sure, we'll get you on.
And with the first couple of podcasts, we did ask our friends because we didn't have many listeners when we first started. And then now we put it on the socials. And so when we're about to do an interview, people can contact us via the socials and say, oh, wow, yeah, you've got a balloon artist on next week. I've always wanted to ask a balloon artist this question. And then depending on how many we get, we put them in a pot and we kind of pick out 5 or 6 questions to ask to the guests.
Yeah, we'll post it on Instagram saying, look, next week we have this, or blah, blah, blah. And they'll be like, oh, because they have that, we can ask them that. I've always wanted to ask them that. Or like, well, that'd be a cool question.
And then we then thought it'd be really fun to have a game. And so every episode we have a game that we like the listeners to join in with at home. So the first episode with Dave, we picked a word and we was trying to get Dave to name a song with the word in.
Yeah, that was super fun.
And then the second episode with Kristen, we did some tongue twisters, which obviously the kids can join in practicing at home. Our third episode with the zookeeper, we did a Guess the Animal game, didn't we?
Yeah, it was like words to describe it. And that's cool.
And we're trying to mix the game up a bit, so it's fun for every episode.
When you're at home, you can play with us. It's like you're not just listening, you're like in the moment with us.
And joining in. And then we have the joke book, because I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but there's a podcast called Brushy, and it's to get kids to brush their teeth. And the favourite bit for us from that podcast was the joke book.
Yeah.
And we just loved
so funny.
We just loved the jokes at the end, didn't we? So we thought, we're going to put some jokes in. But the jokes are always linked to whatever podcast we're doing. So if it's like a zookeeper episode, then the jokes will be about a zookeeper or animals. And then we had some Stuntman jokes for Dave, didn't we? And that's quite fun because we do a lot of practicing on Arya's little sister. So if she laughs, we think, we can use that one in the podcast. But if she doesn't find it funny,
if she doesn't find it funny, we won't use it because she's quite young. We want everyone to understand it, and we'll base the jokes on
whether she thinks it's funny or not, don't we?
And what we're interviewing you for.
Yeah, and it was just this kind of ideas just popped into our head when we were thinking about the format of the podcast.
Like, that would be so fun. Why don't we add it in?
Yeah, and that's kind of how we worked out the format. In terms of the editing. So once we've recorded all the podcast, I then sit back. Takes me a good 6 to 7 hours, I'd say, to go through, work out how we're gonna, which bits we're gonna use where, which bits which answers we're gonna use, because there'll be some questions that I think, kids are gonna find that a bit boring, so we'll kind of take that bit out and keep some other bits in. And then I send it off to our lovely editor, James, who puts all the jingles in and takes out all the blurry bits and the muffled bits and just sparkles it up a little bit for us.
Yeah, and
makes it sound all professional, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, like you were saying there, by having the games and then the jokes, that's another way of making them feel more comfortable, and also it adds to that sort of the fact that Arya is a young lady, you know, and that, you know, it is that sort of like fun environment for them to be in that allows them to be able to come out of the shells a lot more.
Yeah, and we chose not to actually video the podcast. Obviously, we use some video footage on social media. Kids have so much screen time, don't you?
Yeah, we want them to like listen to it just maybe while they're doing their homework or something like that.
Maybe not while they're doing their homework,
No,
but
yeah.
you know. But yeah, just having a bit of screen free time, but trying to keep a child's attention for more than about 5 or 10 minutes is quite hard work.
Yeah.
So that's why we thought the games and the jokes and stuff, they're just ways of keeping the kids' attention, isn't it?
That's why we wanted them to get involved, because otherwise they might just be like, oh.
You get bored quite quickly. Yeah.
But that's one thing. I mean, you know, just going on a tangent. That's something that I love actually about podcasts at the moment. Is there are a lot of programs out there, shows out there for kids and families to listen to together as well. That are sort of short, 5 minutes to 15 at the most, that are about subjects that kids can be interested in, and even like stories. There are a lot of story shows for kids as well. I like that there's this sort of entertainment that's there for everybody.
Well, it's lovely. And my youngest daughter, she has something called a Tony box. So it's like a little speaker and you can put the stories on the top and you listen to it at bedtime. And we found that kind of really relaxed her at bedtime. And this is the same sort of thing.
She's hard to get to sleep sometimes.
Yeah, and she's
very energetic.
She likes to have something to kind of listen to, and it calms her down, doesn't it? So this is, you know, this podcast could be listened to before bed. How good of dreams are you going to have when you go to bed with all this positive mindset and thinking about, you know, becoming an astronaut or a stuntman?
You could literally get your favourite things, like same with the like screen, like you could get what you like to watch, like there's Disney princesses, and you could just listen to it, like storytelling while you go to bed. It's like, oh yay,
and listen to our podcast.
But even there with the storytelling, and I like listening to audio dramas and stories being told, because without the visual there, it allows your imagination to work more, I think, as well.
Yeah, and kids need that time for their imagination to work. They have so many stimulants these days, and it takes away their creativity. Mm-hmm. And you know, we want to spark that imagination back in people, don't we?
Yeah, like anything could happen at any time.
But even the logo that you've got, that to me spells positivity as well, or shows positivity, because is that supposed to be the two of you with the headphones on listening together?
Yeah, and we're really lucky actually. It was designed by, it's a really complicated way around it, but a family member who is a children's book illustrator, and we're lucky enough that she's going to come and do an interview with Arya at some point. And yeah, she designed it for us. We wanted something that was colourful and installed that kind of happy, positive mood. So we did look at colours and what they mean, didn't we?
Like after the microphones and headphones on,
And we did really put some consideration into the logo, and it being very kind of child-friendly and positive, and colours that install that kind of happiness and positivity.
The logo that gave
Thank you.
It works. So what future guests can we look forward to then?
Who did we record with last week?
We recorded with a wonderful lady called Loretta. She's a balloon artist. And we're going to do comedians.
Yeah, we've got a couple of comedian friends, haven't we? And they also are the radio host that we talked about earlier. That kind of gave Arya some inspiration into this.
We've got an Undertaker.
Yeah, you're quite excited about that one, haven't you?
I'm excited and scared at the same time, because it's like, ooh.
We just, kids, death is a difficult subject. And kids are fascinated by things that they don't kind of have a lot of understanding of.
Yeah.
We found with the Zookeeper podcast, all the kids wanted to know about was poo. It's just something that they just seem to be fascinated about. They wanted to know which animal does the biggest poo, which one does the,
You're fascinated about the funny things.
But sometimes some subjects are quite difficult. So we have a wonderful undertaker that's booked in to do an episode with us, and he is great fun, and we're hoping he's going to keep the questions quite light-hearted.
Yeah.
But just in a way that kids cannot, they're going to get some positivity out of it, not be worried about certain subjects and things. And again, that opportunity to ask questions that they might, have a concern about or be worried about, and to have that different point of view on it is going to be quite good, isn't it?
That will be really cool.
Yeah, that's really tough subject to discuss, that is. So let's go from that tough subject to a subject that Arya is going to love. I'm going to ask Arya, because of her being an ice skater, who are your favourite ice skaters?
Well, they don't skate anymore, but I really look up to Torval and Dean, and obviously Kristen, and
who's our current ice dancers?
Lila and Lewis. They're amazing.
Yeah, they're our current British ice dancers.
Yeah.
They won a gold, I think, a couple of weeks ago, a national competition. They're probably the closest chance we've got to Torval and Dean, aren't they?
And it's like, how are they so in sync? Like, you watch it and your jaw just automatically goes.
Yeah, they are brilliant, aren't they?
Yeah.
And what about Mark?
Yeah, he's another ice dancer coach. He does all stuff.
So Mark is actually one of the Dancing on Ice stars, and he does run camps sometimes. We've been lucky enough to attend a couple of camps with Mark.
Yeah.
He comes to our rink to offer masterclasses and stuff sometimes, and he is another great inspiration, isn't he? Yeah. He's really cool.
Yeah. And of course, Torval and Dean are locals to me in this area as well.
Oh yes, they're from that Nottingham, aren't they? Your rink has a lovely picture of Torval and Dean up as well.
It does. I skate there sometimes. Yeah, I mean, I still love watching ice skating myself, and I have done since I was a child. I watched Torval and Dean in the 80s. But yeah, it's interesting how it's changed over the years as well.
In sport.
Oh.
The word I'm looking for is probably a lot more stiff than it was now. They've been a bit more relaxed about things now. Like previously, you couldn't wear a leotard where any sort of flesh was showing, whereas now you can have a little bit of flesh-coloured material, and they're a little bit more relaxed with some things. But yeah, it is a very prestigious sport.
It's strict and
Yeah.
But the ice dancing thing, I'm fascinated by that, because you've got two of them dancing all together on the ice, and they've got to be synchronised with each other perfectly, and that must be really tricky to do.
Yeah. I don't have experience with ice dance or pairs or anything.
Not yet.
Not yet.
But we have watched a lot of it, haven't we?
Yeah, it's mind-blowing. It's, like I said, your jaw goes like, wow. And it's
unforgivable though, isn't it?
And it's unbelievable. It's like, how in the world do they do that? Like,
we've seen a few crashes. We've seen a few. Ice dance I actually like a lot, because they don't let go of their partner. Whereas in the free skating, it's more scary because they throw them and stuff.
If I did free skating, someone would be throwing me up. That would be very scary.
Yeah, that terrifies me. I definitely don't want her to do that.
It's like cheerleading on ice, but with two people only.
But the ice dance is beautiful. It's, the emotion.
Twizzles is one of the moves that like tweak it. It's like,
a twizzle is a really classic ice dance move, isn't it? And the way they do them perfectly in sync with each other.
Perfectly in sync, and it's so smooth. It's
very skillful.
But then again, whether you dance on ice or or it's not on ice, there's a certain romanticism to dancing anyway, in any form,
there is,
whatever. When there's two people like that, which is really nice.
Right.
So, With your history then already of podcasting, as short as it is at the moment, what advice would you give to anybody wanting to go into podcasting themselves?
You could do it, like, anyone could do it. Like, if you want to do it, then go ahead, like, follow your dreams. And it can be hard reaching out to people and getting them back, but you will, like,
You have to give it a try.
Yeah, you have to give it a try to see if you want to do it, like, for real. And then it's like, you kind of go with the flow, and it's like...
I think the one thing that I would say is that for Arya, we do practice. So we always practice the questions that she's going to ask beforehand so that she doesn't get tongue-tied when we go in. So there's a lot of prep work beforehand for us. You know, putting the podcast together, the script, it is a lot of work.
It's not
fun.
With the flow and, like, shiny, and, like, it can be...
It is great fun, of course, but there is a lot of hard work involved.
There's the element to it where it's just, like, a little bit stressful.
Yeah, and it's definitely great fun to do, and we have a wonderful time when we go and interview our guests. But I think it's letting people know that a 10-minute podcast isn't 10 minutes work. Like, it is, and as you know, there's things that you kind of go and listen to behind the scenes, and there's all this extra work that goes on behind. But if you're willing to put that time and effort in, it is so much fun, and we have the best time going to interview the guests.
It's like, oh, we've got this person next week, or, oh my gosh, I can't wait for this. It's so good.
Yeah, and it's nice to do it together for us because, it gives us a bit of time to spend doing something that, is away from a screen and is encouraging, both of us to be in that positive mindset. And we learned a lot, haven't we? We've learned a lot from our guests about things.
Yeah, it's sometimes they give you answers you don't expect, and it's like, that is so cool. I didn't expect that, and I'm so glad to hear.
But we also have a lot of things that haven't gone to plan. I think another tip would be learn about the tech.
Yeah.
Because we've had a few times where the sound hasn't been quite right, or Mummy's not pushed the record button.
When we were with David, before we started recording, the sound just completely wiped out.
Yeah, David was using a bit of ChatGPT to help us, wasn't he, with the sound that day.
And with Kristen, we were in a room and it was really echoey, but we found a way to, like, edit it out.
Yeah. I think the key is to make sure you've done your prep work. Make sure that you've got a good surrounding, test your tech out and stuff like that, because I have definitely learned a lot about the technology along the way.
You definitely have to test your tech out beforehand, because it's not all...
Even the microphone levels, isn't it? Just getting the mic at the right kind of level and stuff.
If I turn it up here, will it be too loud? But then if I turn it back down, will it be too quiet? Like, you have to find that level.
Arya gets very enthusiastic, so she'll ask a question and her pitch goes up.
Yeah, it'll be like, ooh. And then it'll be like, like, one moment I'll be like all loud and cheerful and happy, and then one moment I'll be like, again.
But those things you learn as you go along, and it's been helpful for us because we're making really good podcasts now from learning this stuff.
Like, you learn from mistakes.
But the preparation that you're doing beforehand and the research and knowing what the questions are before, that allows for those magical moments where you'll respond to something that they come out with because you're so comfortable and know what the actual where you're going with the conversation. It allows you to go off in those little areas where David will say something or Kristen has said something, and you've noticed that and reacted to that and gone off script, so to speak.
Yeah, it's like they say something and then something just comes out, and it's so nice to, like, and then they'll answer the question. It would be like,
and you just think of another question on the spot.
That's so good. And here's another question. Like,
we always go in with the questions prepped, and it took a little bit of time at first to practice, didn't it? Because the first couple of times Arya, she was just interviewing me to practice, she would just stick to the questions on the paper. But once she started to feel more relaxed with it and comfortable, this is, she's very good at an answer leading into that other question, like you've said. But I think that comes from confidence and time and having the practice, doesn't it? Because the practice really does help with that.
Yeah, and as well, like, I love all this stuff, and it's like just like my thing as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you seem natural with talking anyway, you know, with conversation with people. It's like you like talking with people and having conversations with people anyway.
Oh, she does. I mean, we are terrible for that, us two.
Over chatterbox, like at the rink, we'll see someone we know, and then we'll just stand there for 20 minutes having a chat. Like,
Yeah, Daddy often says.
and then he's like, "Come on!" It's so.
Daddy often says, "Oh, you two are going to be home late again because you've been chatting."
Yeah, and then when we come home late from some of my ice skating, he's like, "Have you been standing there chatting?" And we were like, "Yes."
But then for a podcast, this is a great skill for her to have. So I'm going to encourage that.
Yeah. Keep at it. So what podcast do you like to listen to?
We like to listen to Brushy, but I think they've stopped now.
Yeah, there hasn't been any episodes for Brushy for ages, has there?
She's more of the podcast listener. She likes.
Oh, I like serious ones.
Yeah.
I'm an avid learner, so I like listening to lots of things that are going to teach me intellectual things.
Yeah, she's just like a serious podcast, and then she goes.
Yeah, and to be honest, we've just started delving into looking at more podcasts because it's something that we've decided to do now. We're learning, you know, how many podcasts are actually out there for kids, aren't we?
Yeah, at the start, it was like, I'm not into podcasts, I just want to record one. And then as you do more podcast episodes, you're like, oh, that's cool. And then start listening to more because you've experienced it yourself. And it's like, yeah.
There is another podcast, I think she's an American girl called Dream Big.
Oh, yeah.
And she talks to guests like we do, but she often just talks about her own experiences. I think her sister's actually taken it over now because she's got a little bit older. And we've listened to a fair few episodes of that, and that's a really nice one, isn't it?
Yeah, and we really want it like from the best of both worlds, like that school experience, It's like back and forth so naturally and like nice.
Listening to other podcasts as well, just kind of gives you ideas, doesn't it?
It seeps into you, like, oh, they've done that, maybe we could add that in, like.
Yeah, we're always not intentionally picking up ideas, but I think that's, you know, helps you develop.
As you listen to more, you gain more information. It's like, that is cool. And then you accidentally, like, get it out into yours. And it's like...
Accidentally
and naturally as well. Like, and you can't just mix loads of ideas together and it just comes out really good.
And we really value feedback from our listeners as well. Yep. So, you know, we've asked a lot of the kids, like, is there anything you didn't like? And kids are honest. So it's really nice when they go, well, you know, you could have done, or can you put this in?
Yeah, like.
And that's going to help us grow, isn't it? And for you to kind of think, well, what can I put in that other kids might like a little bit more?
Yeah, I like that because as adults, sometimes we'll think about people's feelings when we think about things. Oh, what do you think? And I'll sometimes think, well, I'm not sure whether I should say that because I might hurt their feelings. Whereas as a kid, you just think, well, they've asked my opinion, so I'll give them my opinion.
Yeah.
I'll just give the whole thing, like.
And kids are, even though sometimes they are a little bit brutally honest, they generally have, you know, everything comes with a kind, you know, from a kind place. Yeah. So it is good for us to have that feedback from them.
And sometimes when you're so honest, it's just because you're honest, you come out with funny things, and it's like.
Yeah, we do love the funny answers that kids give. That's why we love the listener question segment as well, because some of them are so random.
Yeah, like the poo ones.
Yeah.
You get random questions that influence really good answers, and
sometimes a question that you think is going to be a funny answer, like we haven't put this episode out yet, but we recorded an episode with the balloon lady Loretta, and tell them about the question that you asked about the squeaky voice.
Yeah, a lot of people with the helium and balloons, they go, and then they give them a squeaky voice. But it's actually really dangerous.
Yeah, so
I didn't know that before, but because it can get up into your brain and your lungs can have air for like not 1 second, and you could just literally really damage yourself.
So when we received the question from a child, we was like, you know, this could be a funny answer, but it turned out to be quite a serious thing.
Yeah. And then the serious questions can come out to be funny, like,
But she gave such a great answer for kids as well. So there's some really good things in there that, it keeps kids safe as well, and she said to us, like, we want kids to have fun with balloons, but we need to think, about keeping safe. And we just didn't expect the answer to go that way, really, did we?
Yeah,
but it turned out brilliant.
Fun things come with things that you also have to think about. Like, it's not all, I can just do this.
Yeah.
But it ends up fun either way.
And that's why some of the answers are just really good learning answers for children.
I'm thinking of other programs, just in case you're interested, that are hosted by kids. Which, so I'm thinking, I don't know if you know the Booktastic podcast.
Oh no, that sounds good though.
Yeah. No,
Lydia and her sister, they review, and they're both kids, and they review children's books.
Wow. Really cool.
But they also interview children's authors as well. Like Julia Donaldson and people like that. They've had them on the show.
Sounds really cool.
Yeah.
That's a cool program. Then you've got Skipping Through Theatre. And Skipping Through...
I love theatre, so theatre podcasts are always a good one for us.
Skipping Through Theatre, you've got two child actors who interview people who work in the theatre and sometimes in film, in television, but not always. Some actors and some writers, some people who are production assistants and people who do all this in different roles that are in the theatre and in film. And that's a great show that's hosted by kids as well.
Those people really get undervalued. Arya was in a production recently in the local theatre to us, doing an amateur production, and I did not realise how much work goes into the behind-the-scenes stuff.
When someone says amateur production, it's like, oh, I'll go see that, but because it's an amateur, and then it's like, gosh, that is not an amateur production. It's really...
Stagecraft is a big thing, though. Like, there is so much work in that, and I'd find that podcast really interesting, actually, because those people, like I said, are really undervalued. They do those shows, the spectacular things that happen in them just wouldn't happen without those Stagecraft people. Yeah. So we'll have a listen to that one.
Yeah, but you're right. I mean, the things that go on behind the scenes. I remember in the mid to late 90s, I was going to try and put on a production of Singing in the Rain for the stage. And I started on it and looked into it and but then got scared away out of it because I noticed all these things that you have to do to get it actually out there, and it's a lot of work.
Like, it's like, oh, that would be fun, that would be cool. But then you're like, oh, that's a lot of work, and you really have to put in everything. It's not all, here's an actor, I want them to be there. There's
a lot more to it.
There's a lot more than you think behind the scenes, and yeah.
But I remember I picked Singing in the Rain particularly because that's my favourite film of all time, Singing in the Rain.
Gene Kelly, I'm a big fan.
Debbie Reynolds. So actually, we were going to finish off now, but I'm going to throw in a surprise question, which is...
Go for it.
What is each of your favourite films?
Oh, that is such a hard question.
Oh, that is... I mean... Currently, we are obsessed with Wicked because we are big musical theatre fans anyway.
And, I love to watch a film and I love theatre. And then when it's like a classic theatre that's been turned into a film, it's just like, yes, two of my favourite things combined. So at the moment, definitely the Wicked.
And our favourite Christmas film is Nativity. We are obsessed with that film in our house.
That's the production.
And we do watch that film a lot at Christmas, don't we? Martin Freeman, Nativity #1.
Yep.
Best Christmas film ever for me.
Yeah, great British actor.
Yes.
When you watch films and TV shows, it's like, that's so cool. And it's like, that looks really fun. Like, you could get into it from doing anything related to it.
You enjoy your acting, don't you? It's, again, another kind of nice creative space for children. And I know some kids find it difficult to get up on stage. Being on a podcast is a bit like being on stage because you're, having to present in front of people. But there's lots of good things that come from it, isn't there?
When you do podcasting, you might be shy, but then you get into talking to someone. It's like a normal conversation, and then you realise I've just done that. Like
You forget about the microphone and the camera.
People listening to it onwards. It's like you forget about it and just you're in the moment.
You just have a good time.
Yeah.
But you're also, with podcasting, you're allowing your own personal. So with this, I'm interested in what makes people do podcast, and I get really interested in their shows and think, well, and in my head, I'm like, well, how did they come to this, and what is it about that subject that's attracted them to it? And that's what it all is. Podcast, the best ones to me are when it's an extension of you are, or how you are as yourself.
And I definitely think that's true for Arya. You know, this podcast enables her to just be the lovely free spirit that she is. You know, there's a lot of laughing and happiness in the episodes, and she's generally quite a fun-loving child. But she is a great actress, and she, you know, that kind of shines through in her personality in the episodes. You know, it's lovely for her to use those skills that she's got to create something. And I feel like, you know, Dave said this in his episode to us. You know, if you want to give back to people, creating is a way to do that. And that's another thing that really stuck with us in this podcast. You know, we're creating something that may bring some happiness or some knowledge or something to others. And that's a really nice thing to do, isn't it?
I have an extra surprise question for you. How did you get into podcasting?
How did I get into podcasting? I started as for a local radio station. There was a friend of mine who had a radio show, and I used to come on and do the local music scene slot for their show.
Amazing.
So I used to talk about what was going on in the local scene in the music industry, but for this area, for Nottinghamshire. And then they started a podcast, and they kept saying to me that I should start one, but I didn't. I was scared about it for many, many years. And then I became a guest on some music podcasts. And eventually, and over the years, I've listened to that many that I just became interested in what makes people interested in podcasts, and thought, well, why don't I ask them, because of my interest in their shows, what it is that makes their shows what they are. So, yeah, that's how I got into it.
I think it really helps when you talk about something that you enjoy. And I think you can really tell that from the podcast that you listen to. Like, I know when I get so much joy listening back to Arya's episodes because I know how much fun she's had creating it.
The thing is, though, I'd love to listen to it, but I hate hearing my own voice.
Yeah,
I hear my own voice. It doesn't pick up everything. But I'd love to listen to the episodes. It's just like...
We're going to have to work on that a little bit. She's going to have to get used to it, I think.
Yeah.
Be glad you don't have to edit your own episodes and then listen to yourself doing the editing.
I'd be like, every single second, like, all right, let's do this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was going to say, I mean, with your show, I can hear Arya's excitement at learning, and she's really interested in the subjects that these people are discussing as well and bringing in.
Yeah, and she does. And that's important when we're discussing who we want to get on the show. Like, I really value her opinion on this, and I really let her lead. Sometimes I'll think of something and come up and say, oh, Arya, what about this? And she'll go, nah. Or otherwise, yeah, Mummy, I really love that idea. But for me, it's her leading it because I want her to really enjoy those episodes. And I think so far we've done that, haven't we?
Yeah.
So if people want to contact you with any ideas for guests that you could speak with in the future, or just generally chat with you, how can they do that, and how can they find the show?
We have a lot of different social media, like web things, whatever it is.
We've got an Instagram account. Our Instagram is @somethingdifferentpod, but the pod is P0D because somebody else had the POD. And there's a TikTok account as well. We're not so good at that one, are we?
No.
But we're in the process of trying to set up an email address as well, so that obviously if they want to email in listener questions, and we'll put that out on our socials. We might add it to the actual podcast. At the end of the episode of the podcast, it does talk about our socials. But at the moment, that's the best way for people to contact us until we get the email up and running.
Yeah, like any questions, just let us know.
Yeah, and we really encourage the listeners to get in contact.
We really want your questions because we want it to be on their point of view of your questions. It's like speak now or forever hold your peace.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the show can be found everywhere that you can find podcasts.
Yeah, it's hosted by Podbean,
Yep.
We listen to it through Spotify, but
Yeah.
we've got friends who listen through Apple Music.
Anywhere you have it.
Yeah, all the podcasting platforms it should be available on.
That's good. Thank you for speaking with me today. This was great. Lovely.
Well, thank you so much for having us, and we will put your podcast on our favourites list as well to listen and check in with.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for inviting us here today.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
You can find Pods Like Us on any podcasting platform, and the easiest way to find all the socials and the email and the Patreon is just going to themarvzone.org. Anyway, thank you everyone for listening, and hope you listen again to another episode of Pods Like Us.